Sir, I meant we should try making honest money. Ow! Shut up, dummy!
Arnold Wesker, aka the Ventriloquist, is another character we've seen portrayed differently throughout the years. However, two things stay the same: his illness and the depressing story behind him. Arnold Wesker in the 2004 The Batman Show is a simple man. All he wants is to bring a smile to people's days. That's it. He just wants to make people happy. But his alter, on the other hand, all he wants is money. And all of it. It's about control and power for Scarface. But before Scarface warped Arnold's mind, Wesker was a famous voice actor for a kids' TV show. Once the show ended, Wesker did other shows with a new set of puppets, but those proved to be unsuccessful and were cancelled. This marked the end of Wesker's career on television. No longer was he able to land a job doing what he loved, and that broke Arnold's heart. However, sometime during one of those shows being cancelled, Scarface started to manifest himself into Arnold's mind. So much so that Scarface became the dominant alter. Every negative emotion and thought Arnold had would come from Scarface. One night, when Arnold Wesker and his friend Scarface were booed off stage, Arnold returned with Scarface later that night and robbed the entire audience, turning to a life of crime ever since. Everyone knew that without Arnold Wesker, there was no Scarface. The only problem was, Arnold didn't know that. Arnold truly believes Scarface is alive, and not only does he think he's alive, but Arnold is scared of him. Scarface has threatened and abused Arnold time and time again, and because of that, Arnold will follow Scarface's every command out of fear. It's seriously depressing watching the physical and verbal abuse take place, especially knowing that it's just coming from himself. It's sad to think that he sees himself in these ways, as a dummy, a failure, as pathetic. It hurts knowing that not only is his self-esteem low, but his self-confidence is too. And it's those two things being as low as they are that make his alter speak about him that way and treat him so poorly. In the episode A Fistful of Felt, Arnold is being escorted back to his cell when Strange stops Wesker's guards so that the doctor can speak to the patient. Strange suggests that the ventriloquist takes part in a certain program that the asylum offers to help his problem. Wesker almost immediately agrees, but Scarface, of course, shoots the idea down.
Well, we'll do whatever will make us upstanding citizens, Professor Strange.
Speak for yourself, dummy.
In that quick moment, we're seeing how desperate Arnold is to be freed from Scarface. We see that he's willing to undergo any treatment to be cured. He doesn't want to live a life of crime. He doesn't want to live a life of causing pain onto others. But then we see the dominant alter taking back control and shutting down Professor Strange's proposal, which again, the dominant alter does want to live a life of those things. The sad part is, what Arnold doesn't realize is those thoughts are his own. A part of him wants to be doing those things, but only a part that's controlled by Scarface. If Scarface isn't around, that side of Arnold doesn't exist, as we'll see later in this episode. Back at Arkham Asylum, after much time had passed, Professor Strange congratulates Arnold Wesker. He is now free and completely rehabilitated. Wesker looks at his left hand and sees Scarface no longer on it. Wesker then bursts into tears and thanks Hugo Strange for his work. Arnold is finally freed from Scarface, and now we can see just how happy Wesker can be without Scarface, albeit for a short amount of time. It still shows us that this side of Arnold really does just long for a life of making others happy. He gets his joy from passing joy down to others, which honestly is so sweet and nice. Then we get to see his new friend and puppet, Mr. Snoots, who acts and sounds nothing like Scarface, which shows us that softer side of Arnold. However, all good things in Gotham must come to an end. The ventriloquist returns home with multiple bags of groceries. Arnold congratulates his friend and puppet, Mr. Snoots, for such a good job, but Mr. Snoots is nowhere to be seen. Once opening up the refrigerator, Arnold finds Mr. Snoots laying on the shelf, missing one of his eyes. Seeing how connected Arnold is to Mr. Snoots is not only so sweet, but it's also so sad. Watching him be destroyed over the death of Mr. Snoots shows you just how sympathetic Arnold really is. This loss means a great deal to him. It deeply affected him, not just emotionally either, but it also greatly impacted his mental state, which brought him back down into a vulnerable state, which our poor Arnold did not need to be in, especially with who's behind him. Wesker, frustrated that his friend had been murdered, turns around to find Scarface sitting in a chair. The evil puppet welcomes his old puppeteer. Wesker then yells at Scarface, saying for once he was happy.
How could you? For once I was happy! Why couldn't you stay out of my life?
Scarface quickly puts the ventriloquist in his place, and the two become an evil pair once again. The fear, the low self-esteem, low self-confidence, mixed with the vulnerable state, put Arnold back in the same situation he was in before. Only now, Scarface was becoming more distrustful of Arnold. What we, the audience, can take away from that is Arnold doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust his own actions, which is incredibly sad. After a somewhat failed heist at the museum, Scarface and his henchmen talk about their next move on the set of Wesker's old TV show. Scarface says someone double-crossed them. The puppet ultimately assumes it was Wesker, who swears it wasn't him. The henchmen finish tying up Arnold to the train tracks. Scarface then orders the henchmen to activate the train. Suddenly, a cartoony robotic train rides along the tracks, approaching the ventriloquist. Scarface, still attached to Arnold's hand, is sentencing Wesker to death. But in reality, Arnold is sentencing Arnold to death. And with that, we see that Arnold is willing to die to be freed from Scarface, to be freed from all this pain, as well as to be freed from causing pain onto others. He just wants all of this to end, which again is really sad. It hurts seeing Arnold this broken, this distraught. Batman then tries to talk to Wesker, telling him that Scarface doesn't control him. But after Scarface yells at Arnold, Wesker doesn't listen. Batman then shows Scarface the real rat, Mr. Snoots. After throwing Mr. Snoots to Wesker, Snoots then admits to tipping off the police, which angers Scarface and causes the two of them to fight until Arnold frees himself. With the train about to hit Arnold, Batman swings in and saves Wesker, but the ventriloquist couldn't hold on to Mr. Snoots or Scarface. Both of them are crushed and killed by the train. Mr. Snoots in that fight represented Arnold's will and his urge to be a better person and to stop being a criminal. With the train killing Mr. Snoots, Arnold's heart was broken once more. More intense pain was placed on his fragile mind. However, the situation wasn't all bad. Scarface also died, and with his death, Arnold was able to let go of that side of himself yet again. He may have lost a friend, but it wasn't in vain. Mr. Snoots sacrificed himself to set Arnold free from Scarface, which, if you ask me, my friend Arnold Wesker over here definitely needs to be freed from Scarface. He deserves better. He doesn't deserve to feel the way he feels, especially when it comes to himself. Arnold is a good guy with a fragile mental state who just needs help. If he's offered a solution and a way to be freed from Scarface, we see that he's well capable of living a life without crime and is beyond happy to be doing so. It's genuinely sad seeing that happy lifestyle he earns for being ripped from him. Then when you think about Hugo Strange planting Scarface back at his apartment after mutilating his new friend Mr. Snoots, it makes it that much more depressing. And that, my friends, is the ever so sad story of the ventriloquist. Arnold would go on to make a few cameos after the episode A Fistful of Felt, such as the appearances he makes in the episodes Rumors and the End of Batman. He also makes a cameo in the Batman vs. Dracula movie, where he's seen in Arkham, without Scarface mind you, playing bingo. However, his story wouldn't be expanded. But that about wraps this video up. If you made it this far into the video, comment down your favorite design from the 2004 The Batman series. I always love to hear y'all's takes and opinions. Also, real quick, I just want to go ahead and thank my girlfriend for helping me out with this script. I could not have done it without her, so big thank you to her. But with all that said, it's been ugly, and I'll see y'all in the next one.